Good day. This is Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. This is episode 105, April 24th. I want to lead off with this hilarious video. This is from CBS Evening News Archives, April 22nd, 1970. Okay, so this is the original Earth Day.
Seeking its own survival. Earth Day, a day dedicated to enlisting all the citizens of a bountiful country in a common cause of saving life from the deadly byproducts of that bounty, the fouled skies, the filthy waters, the littered earth. Yet the gravity of the message of Earth Day still came through. Act or die. Next to Los Angeles, Denver has the best climate in the country for producing smog. In this unlikely seeming place, the air is threatened. Earth Day is a focus for efforts to save it. When we look around our Earth and see the ability that man has shown to devastate our Earth, it makes one think that the whole world would be better off if man hadn't been invented. That man is the important thing, and that this Earth is the important thing. This tiny little ball has only got so much oxygen, so many acres of earth to live off of, so much water, so much metals that we need to survive. And if we louse it up, if we throw it into the sea, if we ruin it, we're dead.
So this goes on. This goes on for another minute or and a half. I mean, this is 1970. This is the climate hysteria, the panic, the doomsday. It's amazing. These atheists are just so afraid of the earth is just going to die. All right. Well, the earth is going to eventually die. The inner core is cooling. That the earth will eventually stop spinning and there will be no possibility of life here on the earth. Of course, for those people like me who are Christians and who believe in God, we understand that nothing's going to be forever, that right now with humans, we're on the earth. We know God will provide a way. We know that there'll be a second coming of Jesus Christ. He'll come, he'll renew the earth. I mean, this is what we believe. This fatalism, this panic, this tinfoil hat catastrophe type of attitude where we need to act. Walter Cronkite, I mean, I grew up. I was 7 years old, almost 7 years old when this was on the TV. I mean, golly, has anything changed? Has Comrade Cortez and what she says? I mean, she says that she gives us 12 years. Al Gore's done this. When I was in middle school, as Paul Ehrlich and the population bomb, that we're all going to starve. 4 to 5 billion people were going to starve to death. The earth was overcrowded, overpopulated. Oh, it's just hysteria. It's hysteria, and it comes from the left, and they just want full government control. It's really sad. Nothing really changes. I wanted to switch a little bit to the attack on Christians in Sri Lanka. Charlie Kirk tweeted yesterday, Comrade Cortez tweeted about the horrific tragedy in New Zealand 14 times. By the way, I call AOC Comrade Cortez. I don't want to give her the cool AOC little name that she seeks out after. So she talked about New Zealand, where this crazy white supremacist went into a mosque and killed people. And so has Comrade Cortez, has she tweeted about the attack on the Christians on Easter Sunday in Sri Lanka? No, 0 times. Oh, Ilhan Omar, I looked at her Twitter feed, same thing. No, they don't care. They don't care about Muslim or radical Islamic terrorism. No, they ignore that. They just totally ignore that. And they just want to focus on things that support their narrative. So they're going to go after the crazy people on the right-wing supremacists. No, they just don't care about this stuff. This is so disingenuous. You know, when you search these bombings, they won't even go down of bombings of Christians or Christian bombings. No, this is like an Easter attack. They're very careful so they don't have any credibility. If there's a white supremacist or a white nationalist killing somebody, they love to use those monikers. Like yesterday, we were talking about the new church attacks and how Obama and Hillary just jumped into the fray. This is Islamophobia. Okay, we've got to stop killing Muslims. Okay, but they don't care about killing of Christians. No, these are Easter worshipers. I mean, we don't worship the Easter. We don't worship the Easter bunny. We worship Jesus Christ. So it's just more fake news coming from the media. And you know what? Maybe we should ban these bombs. I mean, did you see the pictures of that guy with that huge backpack on, full of explosive? I mean, why don't we ban these bombs? You know, whenever there's a shooting with a gun, they go ballistic on the gun. How come they don't care about these bombs? These are way more lethal. Maybe they should be banned. I think they should be illegal. If we make these bombs illegal, then this would never happen ever again. Really? Oh, no. And is this a mass killing? These are mass killings with bombs. Oh, no, they're just not going to call that. No, they're really good with their nomenclature here, okay, to support their narrative. Oh, no, it's just guns that do mass killing. Therefore, we need to get rid of all the guns. Oh, so HRC, she's weighed in on this Trump obstruction case. You know, this is just hilarious. It was all about Russian collusion. I mean, we heard that for 2 years. Oh, no, there was no evidence of collusion. So now they're moving on to obstruction. Oh, it's all about obstruction. Hillary said anyone other than Trump would have been indicted for obstruction. That Mueller could not indict a sitting president. I mean, this is just fake news. There is no evidence of a crime. Mueller looked and looked and looked. I mean, who knows how quickly he went from collusion to obstruction, because there wasn't any collusion. I mean, did he go on for a year and a half just with this bogus obstruction stuff? I mean, how much time did he waste on this? How come he just left us in the dark on that? Oh, just let it fester. Okay, I guess just so the Democrats can win in the 2018 election and do better. I'm glad we gained seats in the Senate. It's amazing with all these attacks, this witch hunt on Donald Trump. It's just really frustrating. So Hillary Clinton, I mean, she's going to talk about obstruction. She's going to tell us, oh, there's no criminal evidence of any wrongdoing here. There's no convincing evidence. Mueller would have done it. He spent 2 years on this. Good grief, $35 million. Talking about obstruction, HRC just lies about her emails being confidential, and they were. Lies about the server, which she had. Then she destroys all the evidence. That's okay. That's not obstruction of justice. Oh my. Let's check out some of Donald's tweets. You know, about 5 minutes ago, he tweeted, Representative OcasioCortez is correct. Oh, this is funny. The VA is not broken. It's doing great. But that is only because of the Trump administration. We got Veterans Choice and Accountability passed. President Trump deserves a lot of credit. Don Caldwell, Concerned Veterans of America. So it's funny. So 6 minutes later, I tried to like that tweet, but it was unavailable. So 6 minutes later, apparently Donald did that one because he misspelled Ocasio. He put 2 C's in there. That's hilarious. I love it because I feel like Donald is actually texting these out. I love it. It's incredible transparency. It's not like Comrade Cortez's tweets that are obviously written by somebody else and who is really smart. So Donald retweets and he goes, Represented Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So now he gets the Ocasio is spelled properly. And then he uses a comma between Let's see. There's like a comma. Let's see. So let's see. But that is so the rest of the tweet is the same. He just got her name wrong. I think that's so funny. Donald also tweets, I didn't call Bob Costa of the Washington Post. He called me, returned his call, just more fake news. He talks about no collusion, no obstruction. There has never been a president who has been more transparent. Millions of pages. I mean, if you look at his Twitter, I think that's really true. Donald will immediately pick up his phone and start tweeting right off the bat. We get it undiluted. We get spelling mistakes all the time. President Koerper. There has never been a president who has been more transparent. Millions of pages of documents were given to the Mueller angry Dems. Plus, I allowed everyone to testify, including White House counsel. I didn't have to do this, but now they want more. Congress has no time to legislate. They only want to continue the witch hunt, which I have already won. They should start looking at the criminals who are already very well known to all. This was a rigged system. We will drain the swamp. That is so true. This coup by John Clapper and others, James Cummings, unbelievable. Donald tweeted this morning, can anyone comprehend what a great job Border Patrol and law enforcement is doing on our southern border? So far this year, they have apprehended 418,000 plus illegal immigrants, way up from last year. Mexico is doing very little for us. Dems in Congress must act now. That's all. It's true. What are the Democrats doing? Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House. What are they doing? Donald tweets, the Mueller Report, despite being written by angry Democrats and Trump haters, and with unlimited money behind it, $35 million, didn't lay a glove on me. I did nothing wrong. If the partisan Dems ever tried to impeach, I would first head to the U.S. Supreme Court. Not only are there no high crimes and misdemeanors, there are no crimes by me at all. All the crimes were committed by Crooked Hillary, the Dems, the DNC, and dirty cops. We caught them in the act. We waited for Mueller and won. So now the Dems look to Congress as a last hope. Mexican soldiers recently pulled guns on our National Guard soldiers, probably as a diversionary tactic for drug smugglers on the border. Better not happen again. We are now sending armed soldiers, that's all caps, to the border. Mexico is not doing nearly enough in apprehending and returning. Then he tweets this morning, a very big caravan of over 20,000 people started up through Mexico. It has been reduced in size by Mexico, but is still coming. Mexico must apprehend the remainder, or we will be forced to close this section of the border and call upon the military. The coyotes and cartels have weapons. Oh, Donald. So anyhow, just amazing stuff. I love how he's really fighting back. Fox News is reporting no reason to honor Dems' very partisan subpoenas as McGahn testimony fight looms. So right now they're trying to get White House counsel Tom McGahn. And I love it because the White House is fighting back. Don McGahn. Jerry Nadler characterized the move as one more act of obstruction by the Trump administration. This is just so frustrating because the Democrats are just harassing him in Congress. They're harassing him. Absolutely. Nancy Pelosi says that the Trump administration is an existential threat to our democracy. We now see the administration engaged in stonewalling of the facts coming to the American people. Good grief. Robert Mueller just looked into all of this for 2 years with subpoena power. Trump complied. Let him finish. She's still not satisfied. They want to sue the Oversight Committee, Elijah Cummings, for making a request for testimony. They want to obstruct any subpoenas that come down for information. So this is a moment in our history. It's not about politics. It's about patriotism. Who believes Nancy when she says that? It's an existential threat, this administration, to our democracy in terms of our Constitution. Article 1, the legislative branch spelled out in the Constitution the power of oversight over other branches of government, the right to know. Okay, by the way, that's not spelled out in the Constitution. That's an implied power. Okay, implied power. So she's wrong. She is completely wrong here. Oh, yeah, I mean, hashtag resist. So the Democrats are doing all these crazy subpoenas, which are illegal. That's right. We've got checks and balances. So the Congress can't just harass the executive branch. Donald is going to fight back. I love it. We'll see you in court, Nancy. Let's see if you're right. I love it. Donald needs to stand back and say no. I mean, the Democrats are just continually to hound him. Over what? What are they looking for? I mean, they're just trying to find dirt on Donald. I mean, we are so tired of this. So glad that Donald's fighting back. Boy, Rush Limbaugh was awesome. He was interviewed by Fox News. Martha, let's see, I forgot her name. Martha McCallum. He was really great. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump posted this on his Twitter and said, "Thanks, Rush." I mean, this is really sums it up. And Rush is talking about Vice President Joseph Biden. And so anyhow, Biden's thinking about running so much. So Rush says, here's the thing. Joe Biden is probably the best chance they've got, the Democrats he's referring to. But he doesn't have a chance. They're probably Joe Biden and crazy Bernie Sanders and Mayor Pete Buttigieg. 3 white guys, 2 of them are brontosauruses from Jurassic Park, and that isn't going to sit well with the rest of this party, which has gone so far left. So Joe Biden, Rush Limbaugh is saying Joe Biden can't even get the nomination probably from the Democrats because they've moved so far left. And then there's also talk, Rush mentioned today, that there are Bernie supporters. If Bernie does not get the nomination, then those people are going to vote for Donald. They're threatening to vote for Donald. Oh, I love it. Oh, my. The turmoil going on in the Democrat Party. Oh, my. You won't hear it from the media. They're not going to talk about this. So anyhow, Whitewater Independent Counsel Robert Ray talked exactly about Hillary Clinton and the indictment claims. And he says, like I just said, that she is wrong. Ray says he believes the report disputes that, adding that Barr, speaking to the special counsel Robert Mueller prior to the release of the report in his press conference, only further weight on the opposite side of Clinton's claim. This is why the Attorney General, before the report was released to the public, went back to the special counsel, apparently on more than one occasion, as he said in this press conference. He continued claiming the purpose of going back to Robert Mueller was to inquire about whether the reason why Trump wasn't indicted is that he's a sitting president. The answer that came back is, no, that is not what I'm saying, Ray said. So I know people in some quarters don't want to listen to what Attorney General actually said, but while that is a reasonable question, Hillary Clinton has it exactly wrong. That is not the reason. The former prosecutor's comments come amid Clinton's remarks during the counsel. I mentioned that. And I mentioned her quote. But Ray said that unlike Trump, Clinton has to thank departmental policy and former FBI Director James Cummings' discretion for not charging her with the crime over her email use. I think that there's a lot of discussion in the Justice Department about how it was appropriate to resolve that investigation. But the bottom line is that the exercise of discretion and departmental policy is what Hillary Clinton has to thank for the fact that she wasn't charged with a criminal offense. Ray added that when FBI Director James Comey announced that charges won't be brought up against Clinton, it was an issue as Comey wasn't a prosecutor at the time and just an FBI official who stepped, quote, outside of his lane to resolve a criminal case, which is the judgment that the department should have been based on application of department policy. He compared that situation to Mueller, who was appointed, who was able to indict the president if he felt he had sufficient grounds. I mean, we all know this. Mueller was a prosecutor, okay? So he could prosecute Donald if he chose to. So anyhow, Hillary Clinton is just totally wrong Mueller could have indicted or suggested the AG to indict Donald Trump. There is not enough evidence. There's no evidence of criminal wrongdoing. So, too bad. So, Jared Kushner was speaking, which is unusual. And he talks about how he says, when you look at what Russia did, buying some Facebook ads and trying to sow dissent, it's a terrible thing. So he said this at that Time 100 summit in New York, where Hillary was also. But I think the investigations and all of the speculation that's happened for the last 2 years has a much harsher impact on our democracy than a couple Facebook ads. He is so right. He said, I think they said they spent $160,000, Kushner said. I spent $160,000 on Facebook every 3 hours during the campaign. If you look at the magnitude of what they did, the ensuing investigations have been way more harmful. This is really so true. You know, we have partisan politics in this country, but when the other party wins, and if you just do #resist like the Democrats have been doing for 2 years, I mean, you really are doing a lot of harm to the country. And the Democrats don't seem to care. They're just moving on. They're just moving on. So anyhow, they just don't care. So it's interesting. You know, let me give you an example of that. So this is the House. This is a Breitbart article on Elijah Cummings. Trump deserves to have the mark of impeachment. This is amazing what he says. He says, realize that impeachment is a very serious thing, and we're going to do whatever we have to do. But first, we're going to have to do our research, and we're going to do it exceedingly well. Later, host Joy Reid asked, do you believe that Donald Trump deserves to have the mark of impeachment, as you said, of indictment, whether or not he would be removed? Cummings responded, I think he does. I think when you look at the Mueller report, the 10 items that Mueller pointed out with regard to obstruction, if you take any one of those, anybody in the United States that I know of would probably already be indicted except the President of the United States. This is not true. There was not enough evidence on these 10 things that this would be a crime. You know, Mueller had such a huge definition of obstruction. This is not true. Okay. But anyhow, Cummings just wants Donald to have the mark of impeachment, even though there's no way when they might be able to impeach him in the House, but they try him in the Senate. With the Republicans in control of the Senate, it's just not going to happen. And who says this on the Democrat side? Well, guess what? Old Harry Reid. Harry Reid, the former Senate Majority Leader. He says that impeachment is a difficult decision. Some say Mueller's report was an invitation for impeachment, but we have just a short time until the next election. And if impeachment proceedings go forward, and they might go forward, I think this country would be spending an inordinate amount of time on impeachment and nothing else. And I don't think we can afford that. You know, in some regards, I like that. I like it when the federal government isn't doing much of anything because they just muck everything up. They just want to spend more money. I mean, it's just the federal government is so big and so bloated and such a mess. And so I mentioned earlier the subpoena from the House Dems, from Elijah Cummings, for testimony from the top official John Gore. And the DOJ says, well, you can be with him as long as he's got DOJ counsel. And Cummings is saying, no, we don't want him to have counsel there. I mean, this is just, the Democrats are completely out of control. They're not going to let this die. This is just amazing. And speaking of amazing, Bernie Sanders in the town hall, he said the marathon bombers, sexual assaulters, they all should be allowed to vote. So everyone in prison should be allowed to vote. He says he wanted a vibrant democracy with higher voter turnout and blasted cowardly Republican governors who said he they were trying to suppress the vote. This is just fake news. This suppressing the vote, like if we ask people to have photo ID to vote, oh no. The Democrats say that's voter suppression. Candace Owens is really eloquent in saying, you need a driver's license to drive, to buy beer. I mean, to almost do anything, to fly, travel. We all need photo ID, okay? Yeah. Every legitimate person in the United States who's above 16 has photo ID. This is just ridiculous. But anyhow, this has caused quite the consternation. Cher's weighed in on this and just said, well, this is terrible. And even, Chris Cuomo was kind of going after him on this. They asked Ray Buttigieg what he thought about this, and he said, no, I think people in prison shouldn't be allowed to vote. Okay, you lose certain rights and privileges when you go to prison. I'm sorry, you can't just be free, right? You got to live in jail. Got to live in the prison. So anyhow, there you go. Bernard wants criminals to be able to vote. I guess he just thinks they'll vote Democrat. Who knows? Maybe he's right. Maybe most of the people in prison, is he trying to say that most people who commit crimes are Democrats? That is weird. Two more stories. This is really a good story from Breitbart on Bernie Marcus. He's the co-founder of Home Depot. And he talks about socialism. Oh, he's very eloquent. He says, I love America. I do. I love America because it's the greatest country in the world. And I think that are two big reasons why this country is so great. The first is our Constitution, which guarantees a freedom of speech and expression. The second is our free market system. The free market system has been the greatest creator of wealth and prosperity the world has ever known, lifting billions of people out of poverty and far more superior than any government program could ever be. The free market is the tool that allows money to reach out and grab hold of the American dream. When I co-founded the Home Depot in 1979, I'd just been fired and I was broke, Bernie Marcus continued. There's no other country in the world that has a system where someone under these circumstances could turn a simple idea and hard work into a company that employs more than 400,000 people and has created thousands of successful millionaires. While I'm no longer in the management of the Home Depot, I still believe in the free market enterprise system that helped to build it. This is great. And I want to just finish this off with this quote from him. That's why it pains me to see people in this country glorify socialism. Young people especially have been indoctrinated into believing that free enterprise is immoral because it enriches the greedy and depresses the poor. The reality is that the free market system has created the biggest middle-class population in the world. And while some may say socialism is well-intentioned, the fact is it robs people of their independence, their dignity, and their finances, leading to government dependence, suppression of ideas, and lower standards of living for those under its thumb. Oh, hey, Bernie Marcus is dead on this. Socialism is bad and evil. And speaking of evil, my last story of the day is from the Daily Caller. And the nation of Brunei addressed a letter to the European Union last week asking for tolerance and understanding for their new Sharia Law penal code, which includes violent punishment for adultery, theft, and homosexual behavior. Wow. I mean, Sharia law. It must be appreciated that the diversities in culture, traditional and religious values in the world means that there is no one standard that fits all. This necessitates tolerance, respect, understanding, and the giving of police space, the letter reads. It then goes on to claim that while Islam is the official religion of Brunei, The right of non-Muslims to practice their religions in peace and harmony will be recognized. Of course, unless you're gay, right? And then it's death, the death penalty. The letter then asserts that the new Sharia criminal law practices aim to rehabilitate and nurture rather than punish. The Sharia criminal law system focuses more on prevention than punishment. So anyhow, where is the left? I mean, they will not criticize Islam. I mean, come on. Obama and Hillary, people will not criticize Islam. They are trying to be so politically correct. I mean, this is just retarded. I wanted to finish with quotes from Bob Goff. He's great. He wrote a book that I really enjoyed reading, Love Does. Okay. He says, I used to want to fix people, but now I just want to be with them. He said, most of our decisions are driven by either love or fear. Figure out who's doing the talking, then decide what you'll do. And he said, most people need love and acceptance a lot more than they need advice. So that is our show. I'm Philip Koerper. This is the Philip Koerper Show. You guys can subscribe at iTunes or watch the video at YouTube under the Philip Koerper Show on the Philip Koerper Show channel. You guys have a great day. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye-bye.